Have you ever opened a poem or a novel and thought, how did English become this beautiful, expressive language? From the battle cries of warriors to Shakespeare's verses, from old chants to modern novels, English literature has come a long, long way. Hey everyone, I'm Shri and welcome to The Page Philosopher. Today we are taking a simple journey through time to see how English literature evolved across ages, rulers, wars, and ideas. Let's start at the very beginning. It all began over 1,000 years ago in what we now call the Old English period, a time when tribes called the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes settled in Britain. These stories were full of courage, faith, and fate, spoken aloud around fires long before they were written down. The most famous of these is Beowulf, the hero who fights monsters, wins glory, and faces death with honor. Other poems like The Seafarer and The Wanderer capture loneliness and faith in harsh times. So back then, poetry wasn't entertainment, it was strength. It gave people hope. But history never stands still. Dated in 1066, a single battle changed everything, not just who ruled England, but how English itself sounded. When the William Conqueror and the Normans arrived, French and Latin started mixing with English. Out of that blend came Middle English, which was smoother, richer, and ready to tell bigger stories. The most famous voice here is Geoffrey Chaucer, often called the father of English poetry. In the Canterbury Tales, he gave us all kinds of people, from knights to nuns to merchants, sharing stories on their journey to Canterbury. Writers like William Langland with Piers Plowman and the poet of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight added lessons of faith and honor. English was no longer just for commoners, it became a language of art and imagination. As English grew, so did curiosity and creativity. Across Europe, people were rediscovering art, science, and beauty, and England was about to step into its golden age. This was the Renaissance, a true rebirth of ideas. England under Queen Elizabeth I saw literature at its brightest, and right at the center stood William Shakespeare. In plays like Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet, he captured every side of human life, like love, guilt, ambition, and destiny. Alongside him, Christopher Marlowe gave us the tragic story of Dr. Faustus, and Edmund Spenser, he created the Fairy Queen, filled with fantasy and moral lessons. The English language, now confident and powerful, could finally express the full range of human emotion. But after so much creativity and passion, people started craving order, rules, structure, and reason. The world slowly turned from imagination to intellect. The neoclassical age was all about balance and logic. Writers looked back to ancient Greece and Rome for inspiration, believing that good writing should be clear, rational, and refined. John Dryden led the way, and Alexander Pope, he crafted witty lines in The Rape of Lock and Essay on Man, and Jonathan Swift used sharp satire in Gulliver's Travels to expose society's flaws. This was the age of reason, which was clever, polished, and controlled. But soon, reason would no longer be enough. The mind had ruled long enough. Now, it was time for the heart to speak. And from that longing came a way of emotion and imagination. The Romantic period was a rebellion against rules. It was a celebration of nature, feeling, and freedom. William Wordsworth found beauty in ordinary life and the countryside, wherein Samuel Taylor Coleridge brought mystery to poetry in The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Then came Byron, Shelley, Keats. They wrote about dreams, rebellion, and fleeting beauty. They weren't trying to follow the past, they were writing straight from the heart. It was poetry that felt alive. But peace and nature soon gave way to factories, smoke, and machines. England was changing fast and literature had to keep up. The Victorian age arrived with Queen Victoria, and with her came an era of progress and problems. Industrialization brought success, but also poverty and struggle. Writers became society's mirror. Writers like Charles Dickens, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Thomas Hardy, they showed resilience in their writings. Even poets like Tennyson and Robert Browning explored faith and doubt. The Victorians were constantly balancing progress with morality, heart with duty. But as the new century began, wars, inventions, and confusion changed the world forever. The modern period was all about change and uncertainty. After two world wars, writers began to question everything: society, religion, even language itself. Writers like T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, George Orwell, they questioned through their writings. Modern literature was bold, strange, and deeply honest enough. They reflected a world that no longer made sense. From 1945 onward, English literature became truly global, that is, postmodern and contemporary. There was no single style or story anymore, every voice mattered. Samuel Beckett questioned existence. Salman Rushdie mixed magic and history. Margaret Atwood imagined chilling futures. They showed English belongs to everyone, everywhere. Today, English literature isn't tied to one nation, it's a world of stories. And that's a journey from Beowulf's ancient chants to today's global voices. So, next time when you read a poem or novel, remember you are not just reading words. Share it with your friends and subscribe to the page philosopher. Thank you.